I decided I'd finally do a video on my welding table. I did have this was my top before. I don't know those panels. They're office panels that you would hang shelving off of or make cubicles out of. Anyway, now I had it welded on top of a this frame is actually an old hospital gurney, really old, probably from the 60s or something. But it's all chrome or nickel plated, probably chrome. But anyway, that's what I started out with because I was in the process of building my shop in my house, and I didn't have time to really throw anything or to build a real table. So I threw that together really quick so I could weld stuff on top of it. But anyway, it's got two locking wheels on it. It's got one there and one here. But I finally decided I needed something a little better, so I bought one of these tab and slot tables from weldtables.com, and it's pretty good, you know. The only thing I would say is when you're welding it together, it's probably better to make some make plates to cover up the these joints where it bolts together, and actually bolt it and spend the extra money and get get some steel and make some plates and bolt it together with some bolts instead of using clamps. Because with all those clamps on there, it's really hard to get it set flat and to actually check it to see how far it is off. Where I think if you bolted it all together, you could set it on, you know, your sawhorses or something and get a better reading off of it. But other than that, it's only 3/16 of an inch thick, you know. But it seems okay. It doesn't flex a whole lot once it's welded together. This table's 3 foot by 4 foot, and it's actually under that. I think it's a 1/2 inch under each way. So it's actually, yeah, about a 1/2 inch under each way. But a 3 foot by 4 foot table wasn't really big enough for me. I'm used to a 4 by 8. But I didn't really want a 4 by 8. So anyway, so I had some scrap 3/16 steel outside, so I used it. And I don't know where I got this stuff at, but it's kind of an oddball width, I think. This stuff was actually sheared, yeah. You can see it's like under 11.5. So, and it's not real flat either, you can see, because of it being sheared. But it worked out okay. And the way I joined this is I had some 1x2 channel left over from something, and then if you look, I got a piece of what is that, 1.5 inch angle iron, and this is actually stainless angle. And I add a little piece of 1/2 inch hot rolled on the bottom there to make it the same width as this, 2 inches. But it's not bad. And then I screwed the top. Down and countersunk the screws. And then to attach the plates together, I drilled a hole through them and then put a copper sheet on the bottom and then like plug welded them. So that way they would pull together straight and flat. And that stayed fairly flat. It's reasonably flat. It's not as flat as this, but it's pretty close. And this half was really expensive, and this half was really cheap because I had all this stuff. All I had to do is buy the screws, I think. But it's a pretty good table. The other thing I did too is for clamping, it's got all these holes. You'll notice I didn't put as many holes. It took quite a while. There's This here has 200 and some odd holes, like 210 or something. But if I would have doubled up, it's like 3 times as much, though, or 4 times. Anyway, I didn't want to drill all them holes, and I haven't had any trouble clamping with the fewer holes. But the one thing I did do is for some clamps. These are just those Harbor Freight bar clamps, and they're you knock the pin off and take the one deal off, and then I put a bolt on it, and instead of using a bolt, I found out it was cheaper. I could get all thread and just buy the nuts, and that was cheaper than actually buying bolts. So I just bought a stick of all thread and a bunch of these nuts. Anyway, it works out really good for clamps because these things are really cheap from Harbor Freight, you know, and you get a lot of clamping force with them. So I'm going to do some vice grips, some of these vice grip clamps. I'm going to cut them off right here and put a bolt here so I can clamp stuff this way too with these. These are some really cheap clamps I got from Chuck Homeyer. I got 2 small ones, 2 like this, and 2 of the really long ones. 6 of them all together, and it was like $12, I think. So it was like $2 a piece or something. They're pretty much crap, but they still work. But anyway, it's not a bad. These tables ain't a bad table. They're kind of a little bit on the pricey side, I think, but for what they are. But what's nice is you don't have to drill all them holes. But it works good for clamping. And like I said, you can build some cheap clamps, and it really helps out. Before, the way I'd have to do this is I would have to weld one right angle and then weld another right angle, and then put the 2 together, and then weld them here, and then flip it over and weld the other corner. But this way here, I can clamp the whole thing up square and check everything, and then tack it all together. Not a bad table though, and they'll come out fairly flat, but you really got to be able to check them good before you weld them. I got one spot that's a little low. It's like I think they guarantee them within a 64th or something, and I got one spot that's off about 25 or maybe 30 thousandths. When I check it, it's over a 64th, but like I said, it's a really small spot, so it's not like nothing. It's not gonna bother me. I mean, I'm a bit of a hammer mechanic anyway, so. And you got to get clamps too. I picked these up from. They had these on sale at Tractor Supply during Christmas. Those are my newest ones. But that's it. That's my welding table. See ya.